Welcome to Autism Knows No Borders. Discover what's possible when people impacted by autism inspire change and build community. Together with the Global Autism Project, here's your host, Rachel Harmon.
Hello, everyone. As we announced in our last episode, the Global Autism Project is launching new leadership training courses. If you're a professional in the field of autism services or interested in leadership in general, this bonus episode is for you. At the Global Autism Project, we work with autism service providers across all corners of the world. Time and time again, they say the hardest part of their job, especially when moving into a supervisory role, is feeling like they aren't good enough. Suffering from imposter syndrome, being unable to delegate efficiently, and hesitating to give feedback can all lead to a vicious cycle of burnout and overwhelm. Does this resonate with you? I know I've definitely felt these stressors while working as a behavior analyst. I wasn't taught the soft skills of how to be a good supervisor in grad school. In this field, we learn how to manage teams based on what's modeled to us by our own supervisors. And you're lucky if you're assigned a good one. What I did realize early on was that I wanted to improve my leadership skills for the betterment of my clients. The first time I received training with the Global Autism Project was a little over 3 years ago, during an in-person leadership academy in Long Island. Before then, I had considered myself a, quote, free spirit, someone who values independence and exploration. I embrace challenges and welcome new experiences. However, I lacked confidence in my work. I would second-guess my clinical decisions, I was uncomfortable giving feedback to colleagues, and I would hesitate when speaking at meetings because I was afraid of saying something wrong. Like many people, I suffered from imposter syndrome. One of the most essential lessons that I learned in Leadership Academy is that you don't know what you don't know. I was forced to dig deep and examine my blind spots, my fears, and my barriers. An important blind spot that I uncovered was that I was responsible for holding myself back from taking action in my life. It turns out all of my doubts about the decisions I was making weren't limited to my work. They were present in other areas of my life as well. I was second-guessing what I ordered at restaurants, what I packed in my suitcase, even what I said to my friends. The fears of making mistakes and regretting decisions had immobilized me from actually taking action, however trivial or crucial. When I realized that I was in control of my doubts, they suddenly lost their power over me. After that weekend, I went back to work energized and ready to put to use all of the tools I had been given. Leadership Academy taught me how to communicate clearly with parents, how to delegate efficiently with supervisees, and how to collaborate effectively with colleagues. I also gained confidence in other areas of my life. Suddenly, there was no such thing as a hard conversation. And, like I've also said in the past, I was able to order food quicker at restaurants too. I'm certainly not the only one who has benefited from receiving leadership training with the Global Autism Project. In fact, I'd like you to hear directly from other graduates how this training has transformed their lives. In this bonus episode, discover what's possible when you become a better leader.
My name is Adriana Garcia, and I am a BCBA from El Paso, Texas. One of my biggest takeaways from receiving leadership training with Global Autism Project, well, there were a couple, but one of them was that we are our biggest critic, and we're probably our biggest obstacle. I remember sitting in a room with Molly and my fellow trainees, and everyone, was talking about their own obstacles and what they go through when they think about themselves doing new things or being a leader or taking charge. And Molly said something like, that's just our own mind. Like, we are our own observers telling ourselves, our outside selves, what we're capable of. And it's nothing more than our own inner voice. And the moment that we learn to change that and to shift our perspective, that's when our whole life will change. And it literally has for me. The moment that I start thinking like I can't do something or I'm not good enough or wow, I don't even have those skills, I realize that that's just me talking to myself and realizing that, you know what? I can do it. And everything else telling me that I can't is just an excuse that I'm putting up. I had like an aha moment after or during Leadership Academy, I should say. When I arrived, I was so unhappy with where I was working, and I thought that I wasn't cut out to be a leader. I was told numerous times that, it wasn't enough what I was doing, and I needed to read articles and digest the articles and then analyze my own behavior, because that's what we do as behavior analysts, right? So it like made sense to me that I was being told these things. But during leadership training, we took a lot of quizzes that told us a lot about our own personality traits and how we are as workers, as people, and as leaders. And from that, I realized that it wasn't me. I mean, yes, it is me because of my personality traits, but it was that I was in a condition where I wasn't allowed to grow and I wasn't allowed to learn and flourish in the way that I needed. And as a leader, I think that's a huge part of being a leader is knowing that the people that you lead will not all be led or like to be led the same way, will not all work the same way. And it's our responsibility, if we want to foster this environment of growth, to look at each person's different way of learning, different way of working, and different personalities so that we become effective leaders and that we don't put people in positions where they feel like they aren't enough. That was a big aha moment for me. I think what I learned about myself from receiving leadership training is that I don't have to lose myself in order to be an effective leader. In fact, I'm a more effective leader because I stay true to myself. And that's something that I didn't know before. So before leadership training, I was in positions that were new to me, like new leadership roles. And I felt like I had to exhibit behavior that was modeled to me in a way that I was a little uncomfortable because it was being a boss versus being a leader. And I truly believe that there's a huge difference. And through leadership training, I was able to learn about different traits that helped me stay true to myself while I guide people on certain paths. And it's made me a better leader. And also, I feel like a very effective one because I'm not trying to be someone that I'm not. And I'm also very confident in my abilities and I'm confident in the abilities of the people that I lead. This is a question that as soon as I saw it, I wanted to answer it. And it's, how has this transformation changed my life? I've stopped second guessing myself, and that's huge for me. So anything that I've wanted to do or thought of doing or even had like a little hint of a dream in my mind, I'm like, yeah, why not? Why can't I do that? I've stopped listening to that observer that tells me that, I don't have the skills, I'm not good enough, or, like it's going to be hard work. So I already have enough on my plate. And I've really just lived life to the fullest and I've gone forward kind of like an overdrive and just kept going. And it just feels like after leadership training, I've extended my wings and I'm like, all right, let's go. I want to fly to the mountains. Let's do that. You know what? I want to reach that star. Let me do that too. And if there's anything that pops in my head that's like, that's too far, I shut it down because I know that that's just an excuse that I'm making for myself. So it really has changed my life in that way where I just kind of feel like I'm able to do whatever I set my mind to do. And if people want to come with me, I know that I can guide them in that same way. Or if someone has like a little hint of a dream, I'm like, oh, hey, let me share my skills with you because I know how you like to grow. You've told me how you like to learn, and this is how I can help. So I've just stopped second guessing myself and living life to the fullest.
Hi everybody, I'm Yu Chen and I'm from Malaysia. Just sharing a thing or two that I've learned and benefited from the Global Autism Project Leadership Training course. First thing first is the concept of narrator. I think it allows me to understand how our perspective and lens and what we think and tell ourselves affects our thoughts and our behaviors. Another thing that really benefited and really made me feel like, aha, was embracing possibilities. I'm the type of person that really just want to stay in my comfort zone. So being in the course and understanding that really helped push me out of my comfort zone and embrace what is possible. Finally, of course, the practice of self-care. I think that is one thing that I always neglect. And I think, through the course, I really realized how important that is. All three things are so important that I have talked about it with those who I lead in my company. So to any of you who are on the fence of whether to join and take the course, I would say go for it. It will definitely be beneficial and you will definitely learn something new and something helpful.
Hello, my name is Colleen Dorsey, and I am from Wilbur, Massachusetts in the United States. And when I speak to trainings that I've received through the Global Autism Project, I have so many takeaways. The Leadership Academy was truly designed in a way that I've never experienced before. And when I say this, I want to preface that I have gone through a master's program in school leadership, and I work for an educational collaborative that has constantly been sending me to any other leadership trainings possible. And there was something about Leadership Academy that was not necessarily just specific to education. However, it was focused on the whole core of being a better human to not only others, but to ourselves. It taught me to better learn and observe situations and those around me in a whole, so I can fully be present and be like an organic member of any team that I'm part of or that I lead. I want to share an aha moment that I had. I found myself not just reacting to an email, however, just taking it as factual and putting my feelings aside. That has been such a game changer in my world and life of many emails. And I also had an aha moment where I really listened and learned from someone else, which just listening to that person actively helped me to quiet my own biases and my own ego and put aside my own judgments that usually my narrator tries to really turn the volume up on. And I find such beauty in just sitting and listening and collaborating and learning from each other when I can turn off my own narrator and my own thoughts. I have learned a lot about myself. I started Leadership Academy during a very vulnerable and trying time in my life. And at that moment, I did not feel I was in the best space for it. But I powered through and I simply showed up each session. And I didn't truly realize what I got out of it until it began to generally change and impact my life. What I've been able to bring back and apply to my own work is offering different tips and advice, as well as input that I never knew I was capable of, and allowing myself and my colleagues to truly get curious and to always be willing to grow together through each moment. What would I say to anyone who's on the fence about taking a course with the Global Autism Project? Do it. Do it. Stop overthinking. Decide now to do it, because I was honestly on the fence, and I'm so glad I hopped over that fence and ran with it, because it's changed my overall ability to thrive in my career when I was literally beginning to burn out. And my favorite thing I always share to anyone from Leadership Academy is the module we did on self-care. And yes, professional self-care is a thing that we should all be investing in. I was able to become a better leader within for myself, and I was able to do that work and then see how naturally it came out in my life, both professionally and personally, and just to be able to truly be that leader that I always knew I was destined to be and was holding back and maybe not ready to be. Leadership Academy gave me the tools to be confident and to lead and to shine and to be a better me, a better human, and to make that difference in the world.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Fawzi from Saudi Arabia. The biggest takeaways from the Leadership Academy, it teaches me valuable skills, puts my emotional intelligence to work, builds self-confidence, know how to solve and see problem from a different perspective. Also, it gives me the opportunity to know me better by exploring my working style. Before I joined to the Leadership Academy, I was always thinking about what should I do with the multitask, how can I organize my time, how can I cover everything my team needs, how can I handle with all that pressures. Leadership Academy taught me how to understand my priorities, how to be more organized, and how to follow up my team. The Leadership Academy changed really my life. It's improved the quality of my work, and now I'm really satisfied with my performance. With the Leadership Academy, I brought passion, understanding, and patience. Finally, I would like to say to anyone who want to take this course with Global Autism Project, what are you waiting for? It's really an amazing experience.
My name is Laura Leonard. I am from New York City. I wanted to share that my biggest takeaway from receiving training with the Global Autism Project is that it's okay to be vulnerable, to let others know what is outside your comfort zone and what is inside your comfort zone. It leads to respect and support from others. My aha moment was learning the difference between the story and the what happened. 90% of the time when I'm overwhelmed, it's because I'm telling a story and I'm not really focused on what truly happened, but more the story involved around the what happened. That's one thing that I did bring back to my work. I help people stay focused on what exactly happened because we are in a stressful field and it helps to keep people focused. And usually the results are that people have shared that they feel better after I point that out to them. What I would say to anyone who would like to join the Autism Project and maybe is on the fence is be like Nike. Just do it.
My name is Tegemeo Pasco from Tanzania. Actually, I got the big success that I got from the train was about being self-confident to face different challenges in our daily life. What amazed me actually was about the narrator. What I've learned about myself is that if I have self-esteem and self-confidence, I can do anything. It doesn't matter how difficult it takes. But if I am confident, ready to learn from others, ready to cooperate with others, I can do it. And one thing that has been applied in my work is self initiatives and the commitments. And I would like also to recommend to those who want to take this course. It is a wonderful course that will open your eyes and adapt your ability to face different tasks. But also you will learn about the self-care, of which most of us we don't know about the importance of self-care. That's why most of us sometimes we get tired with work because we can't just balance at the time to work and the time to have a rest. Thank you.
Hi, this is Stephanie Kesey Phelan, and I attended the Global Autism Project Leadership Academy in January of 2020. And I really had a wonderful experience. I learned a lot about myself and my own strengths, but also how to bring out the strengths of the people that I'm leading and working with. Some of the things that stuck with me included this idea of stories and stories that we tell ourselves or that we maybe come up with based on not all of the relevant information or about assumptions that we might make. And I really learned how to try to avoid making stories and really become a better listener, a better deep listener, so that I could get all of the real information, the things that were actually relevant to people I was working with, and not be clouded by my own assumptions. So that was a really important lesson for me. Another thing that I really loved about Leadership Academy was an activity that we did where we got to experience different leadership styles. And it was amazing to see how one person could impact the success of the group and really brought home that we are a group and we're working together.
Hi, my name is Danica Aguirre. I am from Guayaquil, Ecuador. The leadership training was a very nice experience for me. I learned that we are humans and that we can all make mistakes and that every good or not so good situation in life or experience will always bring us new opportunities to learn things, to teach us how to and what we need to improve of ourselves. Something that really touched like my heart in this experience was meeting people from other different countries and different cultures, because they were so positive in the way they see life and its outcomes. That was very special for me to see that. It shows me like to be positive in some way help us change the way we look at things and the way we receive some situations or some things that happens in life. Before the Leadership Academy, I used to be a very negative person, I have to admit. I used to be like very hard on myself. I used to criticize everything about me, like the way I make decisions, the way I act in front of any situation. But now I can say I'm like a little bit more confident in some way. I learned that I can do anything I want to accomplish. Now I know that I am a strong person, that when I want to do something, like I can do it. I learned that I can trust in my way of thinking. I can trust all the decisions I made are like because I know something, and it helped me to teach others to trust themselves. It also like changed my life in other ways, like the way I communicate things, the way I listen to people. I learned how to trust other people too. I learned to love my mistakes and learn from them, and like to transmit those feelings to my people at work, for example. Now I think I can control my stress a little bit more at work. I am working and trying to not let my stress control me, but to take over that control. And now I think I know a better way to communicate things to my peers, to my therapist, to my boss. Like now I think I can be more like to say things without hurting anybody. I think I have teach my therapist the same thing, like to be open to make decisions, to make mistakes and learn from them. It's been nice to transmit all this information and feelings to them so they can also feel good at work. And for those people that are interested in this leadership academy, open your heart and open your mind to receive every single information, every single tips. I think everything is very valuable. Every information helps us to be a better person and make better decisions in the future.
Hi, my name is Bree Lutzo. I am a BCBA from Orlando, Florida. I have attended the Global Autism Leadership Academy 3 times, and I would definitely never regret it. Some of my biggest takeaways have been really a lot of to do with self-care that can look so many different ways, right? So whether that's delegation, taking a break, taking time for yourself. I think that was some of my biggest takeaways, and also my biggest aha moment that, just taking care of yourself really does go dig into your work too and makes you a better employee, a better boss. What I've learned about myself is that delegation is definitely challenging for me. I, like a lot of people, like things to be done a certain way, and I can sometimes have a hard time relinquishing responsibilities to other people. But it's important, and it's important not only for yourself, but for your work culture, for your clients, for your staff. That's also one of the biggest things that I've brought back to my work too, is that new ability to delegate. For anyone on the fence, I would say do it. It's been amazing and worth it every penny.
Thanks for tuning in to Autism Knows No Borders. The Global Autism Project is committed to up-leveling the leadership capacity of those in this field. This is the only way we're going to make the difference we want to see in the world, all children with autism having access to quality services. Now, for the first time ever, our training is available completely online in our new leadership series. It's been really exciting to compile the best of our systems, the tools we consistently rely on for decision-making, and the processes that have kept us thriving in spite of the many challenges posed by the pandemic. Starting this week, for a limited time only, we are offering Black Friday deals for the first 2 courses of our Global Autism Leadership Series, The Art of Delegation and Fearless Feedback. Check out our sales page for amazing discounts of more than 50%. And if you buy both courses together, we'll throw in a free bonus course, The Overwhelm Cycle. Don't miss out on these opportunities to take your leadership to the next level and plan for a successful new year. You'll never see our prices this low again. Even if you're still not sure if these courses are for you, you can download the free fail-proof feedback checklist from our show notes so that you never have to fear feedback again. Are you ready to take bold action to improve the way you lead? Are you ready to take charge of your life? Grab your Leadership Series course today at leadership.globalautismproject.org. Thanks for listening. Take care. Tune in each week for engaging conversations of how people across the globe are inspiring change and building community.
You've been listening to Autism Knows No Borders, brought to you by the Global Autism Project. You can find Rachel's notes for this episode and learn more about today's guests at autismknowsnoborders.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please kindly rate the show and leave a review. By doing so, you'll be helping us increase awareness and acceptance of autism around the world.